Oh, my microphone.
We have followed our compass to the edge of nowhere, and now we find ourselves in strange times. A time in which the past collides with the present. A rippling quake of thunder has sent shockwaves across the sky, ripping a veil in the fabric of reality. And through this veil we see to infinity and beyond. Welcome back to another episode of the Ink Table Podcast, a Lorcana podcast where a group of fellow Illumineers gather around the metaphorical ink table and share their table talk with you. So if you enjoy lore, art, a sense of community, comedic banter, or just all things Disney, then pull up a seat and join hosts Dylan Bailey and Preston McNair as we recap the recent Infinity-focused fun and turn our heads towards Disney Lorcana's next set.
All right, everybody. Hello, welcome back to the Ink Table Podcast. Hopefully we can all come up from the jungle that is Wilds Unknown that's quickly coming to an end and talk a little bit about all the happenings. I know we're recording this a little late in June, but a little bit of housekeeping before we kick things off. So we are going to be recording another episode before our monthly cadence in the next week. The reason for that is we wanted to kind of talk a little bit about our recent happenings between DLC, our own Infinity weekend, and some pretty hot topic key items in the community. And then with the Lorecast coming up, was it Dylan? Monday, I think we're recording on Saturday.
Yep. Monday, July 1st.
So, and they're not doing the main stages. They're doing like one big main stage this time around.
One big main stage. When we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But in the past, they typically have 3 main stages. It's like one that covers art, one that's narrative, and one that is gameplay. But they are just having one main stage this time. Heard something, a comment from the other side. Let me check a calendar real quick. Maybe I was wrong.
The reason for that is we're not going
July 1st is not Monday. July 1st is on a Wednesday. Good call, voice from the other side.
The reason for that is we could talk about what we know with Attack of the Vine, the reveals and everything, but by the time if we were to record another episode, release it would be out of date. So we're just going to wait for full context and record next week. So you'll get double dose of the Ink Table in June/July. So look forward to that. We're going to talk about some stuff inside this episode, but we're going to wait for full context and full details around everything before we start talking about it. Because we've done that before. Right. Is normally we just record as it comes out and then we're errating videos and I think
it's like 2 or 3 days later they drop the rest of the news, so we're not actually getting to share the full story or the big picture overall. So we still wanted to bring our monthly podcast. We're not breaking the cadence. You still get your June episode. We still have plenty to talk about, but whenever it comes to all the Attack of the Vine news, that will be coming up within the next week.
Yep. Breaking cadence, unlike our 3 episodes in August of last year that we did. that was a lot, but I'm alive. I'm
barely.
I'm beaten battered, but I'm alive because we just wrapped up Infinity season. DLC Indy. We're going to talk about Indy in a little bit, but I kind of wanted to lead things off by talking about the Infinity format because there's a lot of thoughts, there's a lot of hot thoughts out there, but I know we're getting ready to do Infinity, but previously, for those who aren't familiar, the Disney Lorcana has 2 formats. There is Core Constructed, which does the rotation, and then there is the Infinity format. The Infinity format is all cards are legal except for you have to use the Errata Bucky, and you cannot use Hiram Flaversham. And I think there's kind of 2 pools because Infinity to us here locally in our communities, Infinity to us has just been a whimsical format where people cook up crazy stuff, and it's truly a fun time. Like, I know we're getting ready to talk about, but Dylan, whenever you hear Infinity, what comes to mind for you? Like, what deck archetype?
Anything with Fortisphere, duh. So the one format that I get to play that card. No, honestly, you're right. Bodyguard decks. Anything. Well, I mean, I'm already doing support, but just anything that we can take any of our previous past favorite cards that we've had. Chief Bogo with all the new Floodborns and stuff that we've gathered since he was introduced or rotated out in Fabled. Just it is so much fun for us locally. It's a celebration of Lorcana's past and being able to play with all of our cards, not just what we have in current rotation.
Yeah. Now, if you were to ask me what Infinity is, it's nuclear weapons. like, um, folks, the Infinity season is over by the sense of we just concluded our first and only two Infinity Disney Lorcana challenges. Previously in Dortmund, and then this last weekend in Indianapolis, where I'm about to just buy a apartment in Indy at this point because I'm spending too much time there. But the Infinity format is something that I have exclusively played in Wilds. I have played Core Constructed twice. And the reason for that is I mentioned it in our last episode that if you're competing at a premier level event, you have to prepare to some degree. And plus, I really wanted to be able to study and speak as intelligently about the format as I could before this episode. But a good comparison, I was talking to Mo Shamblin, and they said it like this: like, Core Constructed is like playing with sticks, and Infinity is like playing with nuclear weapons because that format power level is very high. And as we saw at Disney Lorcana Challenge, where Brian navigated through the weeds and took it with Ruby Sapphire, and I'm not going to turn this. We're not going to turn this into a competitive thing because there's plenty of other content out there. If there's a need for competitive content at the table, it will be a separate standalone thing that would not be part of the show. But the format, the format as a whole, and it really sucks saying this, but I have never, throughout my nearly 3 years of playing this game, I have never seen player sentiment about a format competitively. Casually is fine. Competitively at an all-time low. People were very relieved whenever they either dropped from the main event in Infinity or they got eliminated because it was like everyone had access to a nuclear weapon and everyone had their finger on the button like this. It's like you have the ability. It's like you play something, boop, counter, vice versa. Like literally that is how it went. It was just throwing nukes back and forth at each other. Um, Infinity, it's very smooth play lines. Like we had a good diversity, but it was a little disheartening. And one of the things about DLCs is just talking to people, and it was just everyone was just relieved whenever it's like, well, that I got eliminated, that's over. Like, let me go have fun at Super Sealed and side events. And I'm not going to pull up any quotes. You can go out there. I'm not on Twitter, but I get fed information from Twitter. But the amount of panic from the player base of like, oh, like I think I know what I'm playing, but it's just it was all over the place. And while it was fun to prepare, um, you cannot pay me money to play Infinity at a competitive level again. I will not do it unless they introduce some balancing to the game. And we're not going to say that what cards are valid because it changes every week. But competitively, the format's dead to me. And I hate being critical like that, but I mean, Dylan, somebody posted a picture inside our Discord of me and them. And Dylan, you made the comment, it looked like I got drugged through mud, basically. Like,
You posted multiple pictures of you with fellow friends, fellow content creators, and just audience members. And as the day progressed, watching all these images, you went from so happy and smiley and being a part of that Disney Lorcana challenge atmosphere. The magic was there, and then you could just watch your facial expression throughout the day as you posted, just slowly drained. The energy was gone. And I mean, the energy always drains over time,
It's still
but it
there.
was right. But it was so much quicker this time. You just seemed like you weren't enjoying yourself as much.
Whenever I had an opponent play 2 7-cost tramps with 4 ink, that's whenever I dropped the next round. I was just like, nope, like I'm done. Like miss me with that. So yeah, not a great run at Indy, and I'm and like, and that's part of it is a lot of people did not have great runs in the Infinity format, and part of playing at the competitive and premier level is recognizing when things aren't going your way and just going, you know, we tried and just call it like stop the bleed in a sense, and that's basically what it did. And you know, I have a lot of thoughts around it, but I want to talk about leading up to this because our last Infinity event was the Infinity weekend with the whole New World promos back in December. Yes.
I believe so.
Yeah. So one of the things that, and really there's no structure to this, I kind of just went into our Google Doc and just brain dumped all this information, but trying to structure this conversation. Um, one thing that looking back on it, one thing that I really wish we would have had leading up to it is a little bit more player investment. And really, what we should have had was another Ravensburger endorsed, sponsored, what have you, Infinity weekend leading up to it. Because, and like I mentioned last episode, there's 2 players. There's those that are and those that are not. And I feel like it was a really big missed opportunity to stimulate Infinity around the Infinity DLCs of maybe having like an Infinity weekend with a promo. Or I'm not saying that every time something new comes around, we need a promo from Ravensburger, but I almost wish they would have just held off on the whole new world promos, which was supposed to be for to celebrate Worlds in June in December. I kind of wish they would have held it off for around the Infinity DLCs in a sense.
I mean, that's a great point because back in December, shout out Taylor Swift, back to December, they did make a comment, and I clearly remember this comment whenever they had that Infinity and Beyond weekend that this was just the first Infinity Beyond weekend, and that kind of teased that there would be more, and we haven't seen any since then. And this was like, in personal opinion, and we'll talk more about that later. This was the absolute perfect opportune moment to have another Infinity weekend. So one thing
Yeah,
I'm gonna piggyback off of here is you
sure.
talk about how you're done for now. You are done with Infinity. You won't play it again, anything like that. There's no reason to, right? And I think that's something that you were maybe getting ready to lead into is like, as of this point now that it's over, there is nothing or there's no reason at all to continue to play the format or follow the format. Something we have talked about on the podcast episode for almost a year now, or it feels like almost a year now, is Worlds. We still do not have any information about Worlds, which I believe we're going to get all that information at D23 in August. Sad we won't get any of that info at Gen Con, but with Coop will be at D23 to give all the competitive news. The Infinity format. I still strongly believe it has not been announced, but I still strongly believe that that will be a format that players at Worlds will have to compete in. We compare it to last year, they had to play in Core and Super Sealed and Triple Deck Constructed. I think that that Super Sealed format is probably gone this year. One of the biggest complaints they had at Worlds from the players was, hey, this is not a format that we had to participate in or play in or had the opportunity to play in to earn our spot at Worlds. Which this year, I mean, even if it's only 2 DLCs in the Infinity format at Indianapolis and Dortmund, they at least, or Ravensburger at least, can say, hey, we did present you with the opportunity to play this format.
Right. And again, we have nothing to lead that, but um, we have nothing to believe that, but there's nothing to confirm that rather, but it
Right,
would kind of
until
be silly
August.
if they didn't include it in the world's format. And I'm a person where I don't like to bring up problems without solutions, but there I think that in order for Infinity to be around for a while, I think they will have to include it in Worlds. But again, if they include it in Worlds, that's only a very small subset of players that have reason to buy into the format. Outside of maybe your local communities having a 1K or a 5K or what have you. And I still think that Infinity at, in the local community at the kitchen table. Like I have two friends. My two friends that got me into the game to begin with, they are now exclusively playing Infinity at home. Like that's their preferred format. So there's still a lot of people liking Infinity, but it, they really needed to stimulate something leading up to these Infinity DLCs. Is I think the bottom line that we're trying to get to. But and I want to reiterate that casually, the Infinity format's perfectly fine. Perfect. I love it. Love it.
Yep.
But at the peak optimized competitive and premier levels, there's problems. There's some pretty big balancing problems, and I'm not going to turn this into a Amber Emerald rant because every ink has a nuclear weapon, and I think that every ink needs something balanced in them in the Infinity format. But a great example of this was the Amber Emerald Dogs deck, and I hate calling it like a virus, but week over week, and it was wild to see it evolve from Trinidog to Snowfort with Eleanor. And like it literally mutated like a virus and it adapted and got better and better and better. So the argument of we'll just beat dogs became harder and harder because statistically it was converting at the highest level, even though it wasn't the most played deck. So I think that argument over time got weaker and weaker. And I think it's inevitable that they are going to have to ban things, especially with some of these cards in Attack of the Vine, like this Rapunzel and Flynn Rider, and there's discard, like play from discard, and like there's a Pocahontas that plays like 2 costs for free. Like it's inevitable that they're gonna have to balance, but we're not gonna be the people to make predictions on what that is. All I know is in order for that format to be healthy, I think it needs some sort of gameplay corrections. And, leading up to Dortmund, I think everyone kind of had maybe just an ounce of hope that maybe something would happen. And I would love for them to play with restrictions. But whenever it became clear that they were not going to do anything, everyone just kind of like accepted fate and was just like, well, here's the deck I'm playing, and here's my tech for dogs. I'm just going to hope for the best. Like playing Ruby Sapphire, my win rate against dogs, if identified Liquidator, was like 30%. Like the fate of me beating that deck relied in 3 to 4 cards, and that was and if I got into the opening. So, and there's other great content creators out there that have mapped this far more in depth than what I have, and maybe we'll link a few. But to reiterate, and we're going to talk about the DLC experience in just a little bit, but just kind of ripping that band-aid on Infinity is it's a fun format. Casually, it's perfectly fine, but competitively, I think they have a lot of work to do to keep that format healthy and to keep player buy-in. Not to mention that we didn't really have a whole lot of player investment to begin with leading into these two Infinity DLCs.
Preston, before we move on, you're talking about player investment, something that we don't have in the show notes that was just talked about during the weekly Lorecast is the CCQs for next season. And about how amazing the CCQ process has worked throughout this season, but it's something that they like rushed out the door because there was limited DLCs, and
Right.
it's slowly grown over time. I think that they said that there was going to be like 64 CCQs or what? Okay, let's break down the abbreviations here a little bit.
Hmm.
The CCQ is a something challenge qualifier, right? What? Help me out here.
Championship qualifier for short.
Championship qualifier. Thank you. Because there's a lot of our audience members that are like, all right, what do these actually mean? Championship challenge qualifier, something, something, something. But there's like 64 of those going to be in the US next year, or North America, I should say. When looking at the application process for that this year, you have two options of Infinity and Core Constructed. If we're wanting the player base to have more of a reason to play Infinity, you would think that we would have more of these CCQs in Infinity. But as of right now, what are they offering that would incentivize these CCQ TOs or to run the Infinity format over core constructed. That's my big thing. Is like maybe that's how you do it. Incentivize the Infinity format for however you got to do it. Make a difference between core constructed and Infinity. That way, people will have a reason to participate in more Infinity events leading up.
Right. And we've said time and time again that like the CCQs, the championship qualifiers, was the best thing they've done. And it was super awesome to see them lean into that and make that an official program. And that has me wondering a few things about DLC Season 3, but we're not going to talk about that. But anyway,
that'll probably happen in August.
Yeah. And that's my post-mortem on Infinity. I hate that we needed a post-mortem, but there's a reason why I've exclusively played the format is for this conversation. We had fun. It was very fun on relearning the game in a sense, because you had to be very adequate with all the triggers, and there's a new bag encounters that you had to get familiar with. But it was just very high rolly, and a lot of matches were just kind of determined by who goes first and if your deck does the thing. And I was talking with my friend at dinner, and they said that, in core constructed, it's a very forgiving format, because if you miss your engine or if you miss a few pieces, you can recover. But in Infinity, if you don't hit your engine and if you don't find your engine, you're dead in the water. You can't really do anything. Like, missing turn 2 ramp in Infinity as a Sapphire player is detrimental. Like your chance of success goes down so low. And there's vulnerabilities everywhere, but that's the Infinity post-mortem. And if you haven't tried Infinity, I do encourage you, please bust out those old cards and build wacky decks, because there's so many things in Infinity. But I'm looking forward to being an Infinity casual player, not an Infinity competitive or premier level. So that's my post-mortem that nobody asked for, but I feel like it was kind of obvious knowing that DLC was the thing. So, but anyway, we're going to talk about DLC in just a little bit, but nothing to do with cardboard. Ceramics, maybe? Is ceramic the right word?
There was some cardboard involved.
Plastic? I don't know.
We'll get to the cardboard portion of this, but Preston went off on his adventure to Indianapolis, and I took off during this past month since our last podcast episode, and I went on some adventures of my own. The first of which was to visit COSI in Columbus, Ohio. I know that might sound strange. It might not sound Disney or Lorcana related at all, but at COSI, this is the center of the center of science and industry, I do believe, is what it is abbreviated for or whatever. But COSI is probably like 2.5 to 3 hours away from where we are located at. And they had a special event that we really wanted to check out. The kids just got out of school. We wanted to surprise them, celebrate with them. So we took off and we went to COSI. And one of the great galleries that they had, or exhibitions that they had, was the science behind Pixar. This was such a cool gallery. The moment that I saw that it was there, I think John sent it over to me. I was like, this is a must visit. This is a opportunity that is a limited opportunity that's only going to be there for so long. We're only 2.5, 3 hours away. Why not take a day and make a trip out of it? So we took off. We went to this gallery, and to explain what it is, this is a Steam-focused learning gallery. Not Steam like the gaming thing where you go purchase your games and stuff like that. But the abbreviation here, maybe people are more familiar with STEM, but STEAM is science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And you go into this gallery, or even before you get in, the moment you arrive, there are Pixar characters, all of your favorite Pixar characters, plastered all over the building, all over the door. And this was just fantastic timing. Again, this is going to be a running routine with the things that I'll talk about today, is the timing of everything. Pixar is such a big deal. It just made its way into Disney Lorcana. So why not go check this out this summer? It just made sense. But then you get in there, and they had all of these the entire room or entire gallery, and it was huge. they had over like 50 some different little attractions and exhibits that you can like put your hands on and learn from. They had some like audio things where you push a button, and they had actual people who were part of the animators teams and people who worked in the studios. They would give you feedback and explain and break down everything to you and explain how they worked on certain things. It teaches you the concepts used in computer science and or by computer scientists and different artists used to make your favorite Pixar movies. It was such a great behind the scenes thing. It talked about our rigging and modeling and lighting and services. So if you're into any of that, and that's something that, especially if you want to like maybe potentially get a career in something like that in the future, I highly recommend checking it out. It was so cool to see. They even had like a Luxo Junior thing where you could like stop frame Luxo Junior, you move him, push a button, move him again, push a button, and then it turns into like a 30-second montage or clip that teaches you stop motion in general. It was so cool. But then they had these giant life-sized or oversized models, and I think that's what Preston was referring to, of all of your favorite Pixar characters. Those were amazing to see, and COSI was great in general. Um, but we really wanted to take the opportunity, especially while this gallery was there, to make some content about it. And we have a short that you can go check out there. And it was so cool matching up all of these different models and all of these different art and concept art of our Pixar friends with the brand new cards that we just got in Wilds Unknown. So cool to see that you could see like the inspiration, the original concept that Pixar Studios had for certain cards leading all the way up, and over time seeing how it's grown over 20 plus years, and that art has now made its way into Disney Lorcana, and we get cards like You've Got a Friend in Me, which is so cool to see. For more details, you can check out their website. I believe that gallery is open until September 7th. It was supposed to close sooner, but it got expanded out. It's $15 a person, but it's $10 a person for COSI members. But here's the sticky point here, or the little trap, is it's 15 a person on top of general admission to COSI, which is typically $30 a person. I know that sounds like a lot. I think we spent like 120 for my family of four to get in COSI, but I want to take this opportunity to give a parenting tip to all of our Disney Lorcana parents out there. Take advantage of the ASTC Passport Program. Not a lot of people have heard of this. This is the Association of Science and Technology Centers. There are science centers scattered across the entire United States, all of North America, all over the world. If you visit some of these science centers, you can actually go to that science center, get a membership at the one closest to you. I believe ours is called the Clay Center. It's in Charleston, and it cost me $120 to have a family membership to where I now get tickets for two adults and every kid in my household to go and have general admission in not only the Clay Center, but all other science centers and technology centers that are part of this program outside of a 50-mile radius from our center or our home. There are tons of centers that are all across all 50 states, Canada, Australia, South Korea, the Philippines, Puerto Rico, etc. Anywhere and everywhere that you can travel and go all over the world. You'll get your money back, I promise. We spent $120 up front for this membership. It would have cost us $120 to go into COSI, so it essentially paid for itself there, and we still, for the next year, have access to get into any of these centers or science centers, including our one that we have at home. It's super cool tip. But, quick
Can I
story.
say,
Go
well, I
ahead.
think you and I were getting ready to bring up the same
Yeah.
my faith in humanity was restored that day. I'll say that.
Okay. Shout out to COSI and everybody who works for COSI and this building in general, because crazy story here that I like to dub Stitch's Great Escape. Shout out to anybody who got to ever ride Stitch's Great Escape at Walt Disney World while it was there and it was open. I'm not going to go into details or mention names in this, but let it be known that while we were there and we were making content, I referenced how we were taking some of our cards from Wilds Unknown, and I referenced that You've Got a Friend in Me promo there, or that Enchanted in particular, and about how we were comparing that to some of the art in this gallery, in this exhibition. Again, go check out the short. It's really funny, actually. I think John pointed out one of the little lines that I snuck in there that references this story. But long story short, we didn't just check out this exhibition. We went through the entire COSI building. It was an all-day thing. Building's huge. So cool to see. And somewhere along the way, there was this Stitch binder, the Lilo and Stitch one, I believe you get it from, or the Rockstar Stitch binder, folio that you get from that collection or collection set. I forget what they
Yeah, the
title it.
starter set or something like that. Yeah.
And we brought that with us with a lot of our cards in it. Our Enchanted, You've Got a Friend in Me, the Enchanted Mr. Incredible, a lot of the Pixar related cards there. And we went throughout the day. We had a great time. It was fantastic. We were super hyped. We were making it home the entire ride home. We were talking about how such a good trip it was and how
About
much
2.5
fun we
hours
had.
drive, right?
Yeah, about 2.5 hours, 3 hours, somewhere in between there. We make it home. We pull in. I gotta poop, dude. I run into the house. I run into the house. I run to the toilet. I do my business. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh crap. Literally crap, but oh crap. Where's the binder? Where's that folio? And I like bust out the bathroom looking like Cusco, slamming the door open, and I'm like, hold up, do you have the binder? Binder's nowhere to be seen. We
Oh,
lost
no.
we lost the Rockstar Stitch binder. All of those enchanteds, all of that art, all of that money, it was all
Probably about
gone.
$1,000 worth of cards, roughly.
At that
Total.
point, above that, because it was like the next day that You've Got a Friend in Me like skyrocketed on TCG Player to like $1,000 by itself. So it was like over $1,000 worth of cards. So I mean, cardboard's cardboard. It's replaceable, whatever. But it hurt. Like financially, it hurt. Just the idea of like everything that was lost, the pretty glitter itself being lost. Just knowing that, like, man, those cards are hard to get. They're hard to replace. We had them for the collection. The memories of pulling them and opening them. The enchanted alien that my daughter opened was in there. I and we're the dummies. We brought it with us, but we were just trying to make good content overall. But in the end, even though we could not contact COSI that evening because they were already closed and we had to like wait almost 24 hours or whatever, maybe less than that. We had to wait until they opened the next morning. So we were just, somebody stole it. All the cards are gone. It's lost forever. My wife called as soon as they opened in the morning, as she probably should have in this scenario. That's all I'm going to say. And she called, they answered, and they were like, oh, yeah, we have it. They couldn't mail it back,
Actually, yeah, we found
unfortunately.
it.
Yeah, but Stitch has returned. We have the Rockstar Stitch binder, all the cards still in it, all the enchanted still there. So shout out to COSI and all the employees there. This is just a really funny story we wanted to share with you guys.
That's awesome because anytime you lose something like that, humans are humans, and unfortunately, there's a lot of just not great people in the world, who will see something and not do the responsible thing with it. And unfortunately, whenever you see a binder with trading cards in it, there's kind of like a predetermined notion of value around that. Whether they know Lorcana or not, they know trading cards and Pokemon. So it's
We
like,
know
yeah,
those
the
Disney
binder was
characters.
there, but it's like, is all the cards there? And fortunately, everything was there. And like, I hate bringing it up, but like in the end, we could all breathe and kind of laugh about it. Like I didn't want
Kind
to
of
bring it
laugh
up,
about it.
but
John's like, no, I'm not laughing. He's like, you're an idiot, son. You're an idiot. Don't do it again.
it
I
all
hope you
worked
learned
out
your
in the
lesson.
No,
it all worked out in the end, which is
exactly. That's the
good.
important part.
Which is good. So, but in time, the universe corrects itself. But I'm glad. I'm glad it worked out because you all have had unfortunate luck in the past with incidents of losing cards and cards
We've
getting
had our
destroyed.
car broken into and an entire backpack stolen, and they didn't even know Lorcana was in the backpack. They just saw the backpack and stole it, and we lost multiple, like a family's worth of decks, playable decks, stuff like that in the past. We've had a vehicle flood, and we've lost cards that way. My wife still plays every now and then, like legally in a competitive event. She wouldn't be allowed to do this because the cards are definitely marked, but she plays with these waterlogged cards and this waterlogged Peter Pan's shadow that's like this. Like
Peter
dude's
Pan
got waves
waterbender.
in him. Yeah, water. But I mean it is what it is. We've learned not to store cards in our vehicle anymore. We always make sure to bring those in now. But
Yep,
well,
and just a general thing, like, I do this all the time, but if you do have cards with you, put them in the trunk if you have access to a concealed trunk or something, if you are stopping someplace after league night, and people will be people, but try to avoid leaving things out. But this has nothing to do with Dylan's situation, just generally speaking. But just put them in your trunk. Make sure, and especially as there's a lot of new eyes on Lorcana, I think it's now more important than ever to just kind of watch after your stuff. But I'm glad Stitch is back. It's like the Disney ride, Stitch's Escape or whatever, that got rebranded
yeah.
after the one alien thing. But so that was what, 2 weekends ago. 3 weekends ago. But tell us about last weekend and this Infinity and Beyond event that John and I unfortunately missed, but we were off doing other things.
Right, and we kind of referenced this earlier in the podcast, but this was the opportune weekend and the opportune moment for casual players and LGSs to have another Infinity weekend like we saw back in December. Ravensburger was super busy with the DLC. They did come out, and I don't think this is in the notes, but they are doing this Pack Rush event where you can get this promo Buzz Lightyear, who is not a film promo because you can't get it in all film locations like you could in the past with other ones. So they did do things this weekend. But personally, I looked at this as Toy Story 5 just released. Okay. Infinity DLC just it's happening currently right now. Like the stars have a line. You couldn't get any better than this at all. And we referenced it in the last podcast episode. So this was it. This was our Infinity and Beyond weekend that was completely themed around Toy Story. It was completely themed around the Infinity format. We had tons of fun. We had Toy Story inspired treats. We brought out cupcakes and cake that was Toy Story inspired. And man, Pizza Planet came through. There was a ton of pizza there. We had all kinds of pizza. My favorite was the Papa John's personal pan pizzas right now that you can get. I believe you can still get them for maybe. They might be closing soon. So if you haven't done it yet, maybe try that out if you're interested. But they had a special going on teaming up with Toy Story where you can get like different Toy Story inspired pizzas that had special boxes and stuff like that. So it fit our overall theming, and this is the first time that I think that we've had a DLC watch party. I mean, we've had them internally within our Discord and stuff where people would be at their own homes watching the DLC and we commented back and forth amongst each other, which we did again this time as well. But actually being together with our locals in the store at the LGS and having the DLC broadcast on the TV behind us was absolutely fun to just watch while we were playing our own games of Disney Lorcana. Couldn't get any better than that at all. I was really hoping that we'd see Preston up there playing on the main stage or whatever. But we did see some other people and some other friends that we'll talk about later on in this podcast episode. It was a great event overall. Fantastic time. Everybody seemed to really enjoy themselves. We had oversized cards that we gave away. My only disappointment about the entire event at all is compared to other events that we've had in the past, there wasn't a whole lot of people there. We had 10 people show up. Thank goodness, because we had 10 oversized jumbo cards to give away, so that worked out perfect. But typically, I think we get closer to 20 or more people show out for these special events. But that's okay because I guess all of West Virginia, or at least half of our locals, were actually in Indianapolis
And
for
it's
that
summer.
DLC. It is summer, but many of which were at the Disney Lorcana Challenge event in DLC. So we just want to give a big shout out to all of our West Virginia Lumineers, all of our locals, Team Mountain Dudes, if they're ever listening. A big congrats to Preston's training partner, Jonathan, who made day two, and even Dan, who had a heck of a run. He's actually from Eastern Kentucky, but he's one of us. He's came in. He
Travel.
intentionally goes out his way to come to our store and travels there. He's an honorary West Virginian. So
Yeah.
shout out to all of them who played their hearts out and seemed to have a great time. They had great runs. It was fun to watch them. And Preston, you too were at that DLC. So
Yeah.
we'll let you
And,
talk about it.
I want to say this, I think that morning, I think everyone in this show and listening has probably had their own journey with competitive play to some degree. It's one that it's a hat that I put on from time to time because I like the puzzle, but the sheer fact of going and showing up speaks volumes. Like you don't have to prove anything to anyone. You just by going and showing up and just participating, that deserves kudos in itself. Also, Alan, who attended his first DLC and managed to get the Mulan before dropping, so that was a cool thing. And yeah, like a lot of resources locally went into making sure that people had a good time. And Jonathan, I'll tell the story of him. He went into Indy with a lot of pressure, but he won't admit it because he made day two in Richmond. And I'm like, you don't have to prove anything. So not only did he do it again, but he also went 2-2, so one win short of top 64 bubble for the foil Simba. But we did have a friend of the table have an incredible run that we're going to talk about. But for our video listeners, or for our YouTube listeners, we do have just various photos we're going to be rotating through in this segment. But let's talk about DLC, not necessarily the format, because there were some pretty good improvements and a promo card that's coming Dylan's way today that exists, believe it or not. But all in all, Disney Lorcana challenges. This was the final one in North America. There still are a few internationally left to go, but these two were the first Infinity events. And all in all, it was still that DLC experience, the people coming together, the cosplays. Tate does a fantastic job at capturing those images and those videos. Cole, Missy, Kim and their cosplay, Sarah, AC, like the whole crew, they kill it with the cosplays. And
Yeah, I loved Kim's cosplay. Kim's cosplay was awesome of the enchanted Minnie Mouse. I
oh
love
yeah,
that card.
the iconic, or not even the iconic, just the art in general.
Yeah.
But all in all, good improvements. But before we talk about the experience as a whole, we do want to take a moment to shout out Petrus. Petrus is a listener of the podcast who hunted me down in Indy to say hello. Which again, Petrus, if you're listening, thank you. I think that not only made my weekend, but that made Dylan and John's weekend too. And we have this photo, and we got this photo, and I don't think Petrus was quite qualified for day. And forgive me if I'm saying the name incorrectly. It's been a weekend, but I don't think they were quite qualified for day two yet. I want to say this photo, I think they had 5 wins. I feel like they were 1 win away. And then later on, somewhere we ran into each other and they qualified for day two, which in that case, you need 6 wins you need to win 6 of your 8 rounds in order to qualify for day two, which is an incredible feat in itself. So Petrus not only qualified for day two, but got 10,000 tickets. But then as the day progressed, I'm walking around. It's about later in the afternoon. I think round 12, which would be the final round, was around. And I see Petrus at table like 5. And I'm like, what is happening here? Like at this point, they have barriers around the top tables, which is good because, we don't want people hovering over the players and stuff like that. We got to give them space. And time was near round, and I was just walking around. I was trying to do something, find somebody, and I saw Peter sitting at table 5 or something. I'm like, I gotta stay here. and the round eventually ended, and I knew the expression on Petrus's body language expressed that they got it. But they panned over, they saw me, and I went like this, and Petrus went like this, and I was like, "Yeah, let's go!" So Petrus made top 32, which is insane. Top 32 with Diablos, Amethyst, and Emerald,
Emerald.
which had a stunning performance because that's what my friend Jonathan ran, and I feel like the Emerald Amethyst deck was just able to perfectly go like this throughout the day. It was able to just curve around. It had 9% meta share. And so my favorite moment, I'll tell this story, is Petrus and I were talking afterwards, and Petrus was just like, I like, this doesn't feel real. I'm like, so many things have to go right in order to go this far. Your deck has to do the thing, the RNG has to go right, the stars have to align. You have to play at such a high level. And I'm like, yeah, you got your Simba, you got your Elsa foil, and they go, apparently I'm qualified for the championship. I'm like, yeah, you are. So it was such a wholesome moment, and I was so happy that we could be there to celebrate with Petrus. But thank you to Petrus for allowing us to be a part of that celebration in the Discord, in real life. Unfortunately, they did lose the top 32 match, which would have been for the playmat. But at that point, you've played close to 12 to 15 hours of Lorcana at such a high level, and at that point you're at like the peak level of competition. But what an incredible run, Petrus. You should be very, very proud of yourself. You can't hear it, but we're applauding. It was fun, and y'all were hyping them up in the Discord too. And what was so cool is on my way out, I saw Petrus and we said goodbye. And I guess they didn't know that they had made like the fancy graphics of the decks or whatever. And I was like, "Oh, your deck's here," and the Enchanted Dumbo, and they were so excited. So Petrus, thank you for allowing us to be a part of your celebrations. That was really cool, and was a big part of the weekend.
And in general, thanks for pulling up a seat. Thanks for being a
Oh
fan
yeah.
and listening to us, right?
Oh yeah. And I was like, we're 100% going to talk about you. Like, I was like, we can't not talk about this. But yeah, part of competing at the premier and competitive level is celebrating everyone's wins. Because again, at the end of the day, 1,800 people participated, less than 200 qualified for day two, and it's only a top 32 cut. So what an incredible run. So that was a major highlight of the weekend. Let's see here. So DLC content. I am waiting for a few approvals from some friends appearing in some shorts. So there's a few pieces of content up. There's going to be more rolling out if it's not up already. We always like to make sure that we give our friends and other content creators the chance to not necessarily give approval, but we like to do them the etiquette of like, hey, we're going to put this short out. Let us know if this looks good to you. As a content creator myself, I would appreciate that if that was a thing. So it's just an etiquette thing. So we're waiting for some people to get back to us and be like, yeah, it looks good. And 99% of the time they say, yeah, it looks good. But we're going to have more shorts coming out from DLC, more content from DLC. By the time this episode comes out, we're just kind of putting the fine tunes and edits on those shorts. I know I got back Sunday night, and then just boom, Monday was crazy. But all in all, how do we want to talk? We really don't have a ton of graphics here, but one of the things that I did do this DLC was I did acquire the premium package. The premium package was something that I had looked at because I had made the mistake of playing in the big side event on Friday and burned myself out, and that was not good. I had every single promo at this point, and I was like, I'm gonna go do a few side quests, do a few things, do content, do other experiences. I'm just gonna secure the premium package. And I personally think that the premium package, which included a choice of a playmat, water bottle, 2 promos, and that's it, I thought that was positioned pretty well for the price. However, a rumor has it, and we're not going to speak on those on those parts, but the VIP package appeared to not have been like Dortmund, apparently, and not a critical thing we're bringing up. We're just kind of we're just kind of reiterating what we've heard. But I guess the VIP experience in Dortmund was nothing like Indy in terms of the lounge specifically. So I'm sure there's posts out there on Facebook and stuff like that you can go see. But I thought it was positioned well. I thought it was a good offering. It allowed me to secure what I wanted without burning myself out. And mathematically, I would have had to spend equal, if not more money to get a playmat. So I went ahead and did that route as a early birthday present, I guess you could say to myself. So, but
Which playmat did you get?
Simba. Had to get my... The Simba grew on me. I've looked at Mulan too much because I have the promos. I've looked at her too much. But they're gorgeous playmats. Obviously, they had a limited number of those available. They only had 400 premium packages and 100 VIP. But they still had people getting them on the prize wall. They still had an abundance available. And I know it was something that was discussed with and stuff like that. I think for the premium package is positioned well. I think it gives people an option to. It's no different than like a lightning lane or a fast pass and just stuff like that. I $850 for VIP is just too rich for my blood, and I didn't need every promo. So I took this as I got what I want. Now I can do content creator things and chill with friends and just play and practice leading up to Saturday, which we all know how that went. So is what it is. So that was interesting. I'm gonna be very curious to see if they continue this. I think they're doing those at the North America and EU championships, if I recall. I can't remember, but I feel like they are gonna have those available there. But more importantly, if you've listened to the show for any stretch of time, you know that we have this thing with seasonal convention promos because there's no consistency on how they give these out. So, and what I mean by that is every set, which we've had Jasmine, Aladdin, what are some other ones we've had before? The Stitch, High Badness level, I think.
What about the Flotsam Jetsam?
Flotsam and Jetsam with the DLC season
all
1
the way back?
Yeah.
Right.
Every set they come out with a promo from that set that is supposed to be your seasonal promo at Ravensburger events. And in Milwaukee and in Richmond, I forget which. I think one was Jasmine, one was Dumbo, I think it was, in Fabled. But they weren't available.
I don't even remember.
They didn't have them. But we walk into DLC in Indy, and good on Ravensburger, they have an official sales booth selling product at MSRP, which is awesome. But I look over, and you all are seeing what I saw, but you see Collection Quest, which is another great addition where you go and collect glimmers. Then I see Violet Parr. And like, if you've seen SpongeBob and Patrick episode where they're like looking at the map, I feel like my eyeballs went like this and just like protruded from my soul. I was like, is that what I think it is? And like, Violet Parr, the seasonal convention promo, was available at Collection Quest. And before I get
correct me if I'm wrong.
Go ahead,
Is this not something that we've said in either last podcast episode or the one before that? Whenever you got back from Richmond, because you did Milwaukee, then you did Richmond. Yeah, order of things, man. You've been everywhere this season, but this is something that we actually said specifically that they needed to do. That if they were doing the Collection Quest, that they needed to make this seasonal promo or this event promo or whatever. This is how you need to have access to it. I mean, if you're not just going to hand it out on Friday, that do the Collection Quest, give out the promo, and I don't know if someone at Ravensburger's listening or what, but even if they're not, so glad to see that they followed up and they did exactly what we wanted them to do.
Yes, this was huge because Collection Quest back in Richmond, you got a random organized play promo, and we have an abundance of those, and it just wasn't a great return on the money spent. But the fact that they made the Violet Parr promo available in Collection Quest, just like Dylan said, if they don't hand it out as the check-in promo, which apparently we were supposed to get, but then on Thursday night, they said that there is an issue with production and it's a pack of wilds instead. I just can't help but wonder if they were like, no, we're gonna do the Violet Par for this. To my knowledge, they did not run out. This was available pretty much at all hours, which is great. You had to combat the line, unfortunately. But Collection Quest, we have done this before. Dylan did it at Epcot. We did it at Gen Con. The idea behind this is you get a quest book or card, and you get 3 packs of a specific set. They did Winter Spell, Whispers, and Arcasias. By the time, and I think Dylan's pulling out the quest book.
Just so people can see.
Yeah. Yep. So these little bit, it wasn't a book, it was a card in Indy. Well, maybe.
This was an entire book. There we go. That's the page we want.
Yep. And this is the one from here. So very similar. Yep. The idea is you get 3 packs of a set and you collect these 4 glimmers and you turn it in for a promo card, and it was the Violet Par. And this had people really excited. There was more people doing Collection Quest here than what we saw in Richmond, which was great to see. So Ravensburger,
more incentive too.
Yeah, like this is perfect. This is what we wanted, and incentivize this. Ended up pulling an enchanted from my Winter Spell pack, which was cool. So even better plus to that. But the fact that this promo exists made me very happy, and I was very happy to see this, and it was very fun. They did run out of Winter Spell and Whispers. They were doing Arcasias by the time Sunday rolled around, but still, the fact that this promo you can't get anywhere else, yeah, I was very happy to see this. Collection Quest is alive and well, and I think that's probably one of the best things that they've done over the past year.
For sure.
And speaking of that, Collection Quest, it's not inside our notes, but EB Games and GameStop, Dylan, I think you're a little bit more educated on that than I am.
I forget the actual dates coming up. I know that's something that they're starting to roll out and talk about even more. Today, John said, today. He said, today.
He's miming to us.
Yeah. This is why we keep this guy around, right? Not just so he can push the buttons in the background and be awesome and pop up all the images and stuff for you guys. No, thank you, John. It starts today. It will be GameStop here in the US, and then for our Canadian brethren like Petrus and Mike and Austin and everybody listening from up north, it will be at EB Games. Pretty sure it works the exact same way. But you have to purchase 3 packs in order to participate. So you have to purchase the 3 packs. It's not 3 packs handed out to you or anything like that of Wilds Unknown. You get a booklet very, very similar to the ones that we've shown off. You have 4 cards from that set that you have to find within those packs. I'm sure people can trade around or whatever. And then in the end, you will get if I can remember the subname, it is a Minnie Mouse Pirate Lookout promo. Yeah. This is a promo card or a weekly play promo card that we received back in Azurite Sea. So if you're new to the game and you came in Fabled or anytime after Azurite Sea and you don't have that promo card and you just want to rip some packs of the newest set of Wilds Unknown and have some fun, then sure, go ahead, go for it. I think between the 3 of us talking, it'd be cool to check it out, like content-wise or whatever, but besides that, I don't think there's a whole lot of interest between the 3 of us.
Here's my thing is, this is something that they did to target new players and new collectors.
Right.
This is not intended for us 3, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers listening, because we have this promo already, and if you really want to do it, go for it. Yeah. I would make this recommendation though at DLCs at the Collection Quest event. There's so many people trading that it's very easy to find. I think at EB Games and GameStop doing the Collection Quest, it might be a little bit harder if you don't find the packs. So I would highly encourage you to go with friends or family, maybe get a small group together. So that way, if you open up your packs and if you go solo and you don't pull what you have and there's nobody else in the store by chance, you might have a hard time completing your quest. So if you can, try to get a friend, try to get family members, go with a small group, so that way you all can open more packs as part of that and complete your quest that way. So But it's a great incentive. We got to bring new people into the game, and I think this is a really great initiative. And GameStop's been dabbling in TCGs for a while with the PSA partnership, so I'm glad to see this as a new avenue to bring people in.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
Then you had access to the Buzz promo too, right? Even though you
I did.
guys, I mean, you want to talk about special events that they're doing. We talked about it previously a little bit about how they have this promo Buzz Lightyear that you can participate in Pack Rush and do. That started the same weekend as Indianapolis. So it was a little bit harder for you guys and gals that were there in Indy to get your hands on that because you didn't have the Pack Rush event to do.
No, so that was kind of the big thing, and one of the things that whenever they announced the Buzz Lightyear promo was they were curious, or a lot of people going to DLCs were like, "Hey, I'm not going to be able to get this." There was groups of people that did go to the theaters and did get them at some and saw the film. I heard rumors. I cannot confirm that those theaters did run out because having 2,000 Lorcana enthusiasts attending Indy and having a promo, I did hear rumors that they did run out at some theaters. But the whole reason why we don't have the film reel rarity on the promo card is because it's available in other ways, like through this mystery bag at DLC. And I don't have a picture, but basically it was $30. You got a random playmat, you got a random pin, you got a pack of wilds, a pack of shimmering, you got a mystery item, and then you got the Buzz promo. So I did not pick it up myself because today is our Pack Rush event at our local game shop for the Buzz promo. Go on the Ravensburger Play Hub, find an event near you because we actually don't have any theaters around us participating for the promo. So the game
Right.
shop was
I
the
think
best.
closest one's in Ohio or something like that.
2 hours away. But I did not pick it up because we have that today. But my friend did, and my friend who got me into the game, he went and saw it. Was disappointed that they didn't have the promos there. I don't know why my webcam's blurry. And I did a handoff the other day of the bag, and he's like, "This is the promo that didn't have it." Like, so it was really cool. It was nice to have them available to that. My only complaint around that, and you all sent this to me because I'm just information overload. They said that that was going to start on Saturday and Sunday, starting at 2 p.m., something like that. They started at 9 a.m.
Mm.
So I don't know what happened. It's just the hall opened, people went to the merch booth, they were buying product, and the mystery bags were available. I don't think they ran out, but I don't know why they jumped the gun on that. Small critique, but it's just like as attending an event, if I see that something starts at 2 p.m. and then it's going live hours beforehand, I'm like, because you kind of mentally map your day, right? So don't know why they did
You have
that.
to.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that, but it was cool that it was available at Indy, which is awesome.
Yeah, just a little miscommunication.
Yep. Final bits. I know again it's going to be really interesting. Maybe I'll do like a compilation video of like us talking about Milwaukee, us talking about Richmond, us talking about Indy because I mean there's no more events, but the best DLC in terms of offerings, but two things that I was really hoping would make its way. They still had the Young Illumineer section, which I didn't take a picture of because we have a picture of it. We know what it looks like, the puzzles and stuff like that. No Disney trivia in Indy, but they did it in Dortmund, and we have confirmation of that. So
We do because we have people in our Discord who were there at Dortmund who participated in the trivia. And you brought it up before we started running the actual film today for this podcast. Maybe it's a TO thing because we have Fanfinity over in the EU and we have Pastimes here. All these differences that we see between event could very well be a TO thing. And I don't know
tournament
who it
organizers
falls on
are
at that
not.
point. Yeah. But at some point Ravensburger needs to step in and they need to work with their tournament organizers to make things more consistent across the board. That way we have even this is coming from someone who hasn't attended any of the Disney Lorcana Challenge
No,
events,
it's valid.
but
Yeah.
from the outside looking in, there needs to be consistency across the board. That way, Illumineers have the same experience because not everyone's going to have the opportunity to hit up 3 DLCs in a single season, they might only get the opportunity to hit up one. So why have it to they show up to that one event and it's completely different than what they would have gotten if they would have went to any of the other ones. Now, starting out this season, we've seen them make improvements over time. So I can understand that from Milwaukee all the way up to whatever the most recent one was here with Indy, with the experience being slightly different. But now that we have that baseline, there has to be consistency across the board. Working with the tournament organizers, you got to have the same offerings. You got to have the Disney trivia everywhere. You got to have these premium and VIP packages equal and fair amongst all of the events and venues. And the venues are going to be different, so you might be limited in that capacity as well. I get it, but consistency, please.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing walking away. And another thing too is they didn't have like the quest book like in Dortmund where you got a stamp like Dylan's collection quest book. You got a stamp for completing an activity. They did not have that in Indy, and it's no DLC is going to be the exact same. It is expected that they would make improvements as time goes on. But I think that, again, it goes back to what Dylan said. The biggest thing is that the consistency. If you only had the ability to attend Milwaukee and you really wanted the VIP package because you knew it was going to be the only DLC you're going to make, you wanted to make sure you got the goodies that you wanted, and you really wanted, and you were a person that really wanted the VIP or premium. And if Milwaukee was your only one, you didn't have that in Milwaukee. So consistency of the offerings. I would expect them to make improvements, but that is the big thing. Other things happened this weekend, which we're not going to get into specifics. The best thing we're going to say is go watch the Lorecast that happened on Thursday. Coop, the senior tournament operations manager, I'm going to throw buzzwords, did a really good job laying out, alluding to what happened and how they're correcting it. But two very big things is if you're competing at the final weekend of set championships or in the future, tournament rules have finally been updated. Yes.
Yeah.
I have been begging for this forever. And the only reason I've been begging for it is we've had a take back policy where players can take back an action in the game. And the only verbiage we've had around it is you had to go look at a Discord message. And that, to me, whenever there are premier level events, while they're not cash events, there's substantial prizing on the line. We need it in stone. So the tournament rules have been updated. The take back policy, the long story short, is any take backs must involve a judge or a lore guide. So players have the tendency to resolve take backs on their own. That's probably the biggest takeaway from that is you must involve a lore guide before you take any take back policies. And the keeping your ink for turn from hand face up is now inside the rule book. They're working on play correction guidelines. But all in all, it was great, and I'm sure we're tired of hearing Preston talk about DLCs. But it was really cool to talk about not only Petrus's run, but everyone else's run, and the final DLC. This is the last DLC in North America. Again, I go to these things because I love the game, I love the community, and I like solving the puzzle that is premier level play. But I fully acknowledge that we were spoiled by locations. We mentioned this before. We couldn't have asked for better DLC locations for West Virginians. But I hope that through the content on our stories and the shorts and all the content coming out, still to come out, helps encapsulate that and share it with everybody who can't be here for various reasons. But it was very fun, and it wasn't something that I thought about doing in the beginning, was hitting all three, but just the stars aligned, and I was like, let's just hit the whole thing. Not a lot of people were asking if we're going to be at championships in Disneyland. I'm not going to be there. I have to give it a rest. That's a cross the country flight for me, but who knows? Maybe if Worlds is open to the public at Disney World, maybe that's a thing. We don't know anything about that yet, but it was very cool.
If Ravensburger wants to fly me in to host Disney Trivia, I mean, I'd be more than happy.
Yeah, and we mentioned these things out of a place of love and care because we want people to have a consistent experience. And that just observations. But DLCs are great. They're great events. They will return in season 3. Ryan Miller, again, phenomenal human being, was on the Lorecast on Thursday or Wednesday or whatever, scheming these DLC. So I'm very curious to see what season 3 looks like, which is actually going to be themed. This next season 3 is Season of Villainy, which Rules of Villainy, I'm sure, was pumped to hear about that.
And Baker, right?
And Baker. But all in all, it was great. But we're again, I should just buy an apartment in Indy at this point because we're going back in a month.
Yeah, run it back. We won't be there for necessarily the competitive play. There is a CCQ taking place, but the band is back together, all 3 of us and our families. We will be running it back at Gen Con again this year, next month. We are about 30 days out. I think it's 33 days or something like that before we will be back at Gen Con. And I'll be completely transparent and honest. I was really taken by surprise when I received a message from Preston while he was returning. He wasn't even home. He was not even home yet. He was driving home from the DLC. And he was like, yo, can you hop in a call real quick? And I'm like, well, this is unlike Preston. This isn't normal.
I also had a 4-hour drive, so
right. Like, I mean, yeah, sure, he was just bored. No, this was not just Preston was bored. He was emotional, and it got me emotional. And the entire experience overall, I think, walking away from DLC Indianapolis, it was absolutely fantastic because of the magic, the community, the feelings, the vibes, everything that is there. You wanted to share that experience, not only what it was like for you, but as someone who hasn't got to attend any of the DLCs, that you were like, yo, people do care. People are watching the show. People are watching the podcast. People are asking about you and John too, not just me.
I even mentioned about
this was a
Knives
great
on the
time,
show.
right?
What?
Yeah, Knives Nerd Corner. That was, you said that like you got photos of like sitting next to him during Super Sealed and stuff, and what a heck of a run he had playing all the way up until what did he make day 2 as well, right? Because he was sitting right next to Jonathan at one point. And that's someone that we're a huge fan of, because if you're a fan of the podcast and you know we love the sealed format, and Knives Nerd Corner, if you haven't seen his content, go check it out, because we've personally, that was one of the first creators or pieces of content that me and Preston kind of bonded over, that started this podcast off to begin with, because we would talk about his content and all of his tips and tricks that he gave whenever it came to the sealed format, all the way back in Rise of the Floodborn. Those are the kind of conversations that we had, that we were piggybacking off of, that John overheard and said, yo, we need to start a podcast. You guys need to talk about this in front of people. So thank you to him for being such an inspiration to us. I'm so jealous that you got to meet him, but when him joining the Discord too, I was like, yes, this is awesome. Full circle moment. It's all coming together. You love to see it. So I really cannot wait for Gen Con, because I wanted to go to DLC Richmond. I truly did, and I'm just not financially in a place where I can attend every event in the world that I want to attend. So I had to make a decision between Richmond or Disney World during the Festival of the Arts, and I chose that because that was more family-oriented at the time, right? Who doesn't want to go to Disney? So we chose that.
You back promos for us, which is fun, so thank you.
I did, yeah. And then, well, you're making it up. You're smuggling back promos for me. And then we are now, all 3 of us, we're getting to go to Gen Con. It's not the full DLC, pure Disney Lorcana magic experience, but man, we had a heck of a time last year. And we walked away from that event feeling those same emotions that you felt walking away from Indy this year. And I really cannot wait to feel that again. I don't know what all community members are going to be there. I don't know what all members from Ravensburger team is going to be there. Everybody was there last year. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody. We walked into Collection Quest events and we had Coop and Naomi and everybody. I was watching back our vlog from last year and I'm like, yo, I didn't realize that like the head members, like the major members and players of Ravensburger, were there in the room at Collection Quest, stamping papers, checking in with their audience. It's fantastic to see. And I cannot wait for that. So excited for all of those events. There's tons of Disney Lorcana events that are going to be taking place there. We're not going to be doing them all. Again, I don't think we're doing the CCQ, but we're going to try to cover as much of that as possible as we can. I know, Preston, you've got quite a few Disney Lorcana events that you're doing. We're bringing
got
a
at least one a
friend.
day.
Right. We're bringing a friend Matt with us, and he has tons of Disney Lorcana events that he's doing as well. And something that we're excited about is we will be in the room. It's only going to be a room of like 200 some people, similar to the second anniversary panel that they had last year. That was kind of the very first special Lorecast in a way that kind of started it off. Well, maybe not the first one. The first one was probably right after Coop and Tito and everybody came, where they announced the bands and stuff like that. But this was live audience, 200 some people will be there in the room again. They're advertising it this time as a demo of the brand new Illuminators Quest, the Great Honey Rescue, and something me and you've talked about and I've mentioned is he's being sneaky with his wordage and stuff here. I don't even want to say sneaky, but I caught onto it probably about a month ago. And we may have brought this back up in last month's podcast episode, but he reiterated again that we may have the opportunity to get our hands on and get copies of the Illuminators Quest at Gen Con before it actually releases in October.
I'm optimistic that, again, we don't know. We're reading too much into it, but the fact
Always.
that the fact that the 3-year celebration is so heavily marketed towards that Illuminators Quest product, I am going to be curious to see if it's a demo. It's going to be a demo, we know that. Or is there going to be something else? And it's important to know that if you are going to Gen Con, standby line tickets will be accepted at $9.55. So if you didn't, it's sold out now. But if you are going to Gen Con, you didn't get into that, still show up. Make sure you look at the listing, but I'm looking at it right now. It says standby line tickets on site will be accepted at $9.55. So 5 minutes before start to fill seats as needed.
But we have tons of content planned for Gen Con, and if there's anything in particular about Gen Con that you have questions about or would like to see from us, let us know down in the comments. That way, because right now we're trying to get our game plan figured out and situated about what we want to cover, how we're going to go about covering it. But all the Lorcana related stuff we're definitely going to talk about. Last year, I spearheaded our behind the scenes vlog of just our adventure overall. Yeah, just a big compilation video showing off stuff. Plan on doing that again this year. So if there's anything behind the scenes, not Lorcana related, that you just want to see from the guys here at the table, let us know that too. We'll throw that in or try to sneak it in there. And one of the other big things that we are doing, because thank you, Gen Con, for once again, this is the second year in a row. And one of the reasons that I'm able to do this event and attend this event is because we have received press passes for this event. Thank you. And we want to do our due diligence and we want to cover everything there that we possibly can. So not only are we there primarily for Lorcana, but we will also be covering board games, TCGs, and all the other unique ways that tabletop games bring people together. Because at the end of the day, all of those gather around a metaphorical ink table, just like we do here, to make memories and have fun and bring people together. And I'm sure that there's some overlap between our audience with Lorcana players and our audience with people who enjoy board games and stuff like that. So watch for content like that as well. It'll be making its way over onto the channel. If you check out our website, theinkTable.com, there's already actually a section there. We have dubbed it and titled it More Fun at the Table, which covers a bunch of stuff that we get press releases about all the time. Just different board games and stuff like that, different Kickstarter releases and stuff for some of our favorite games. I know in the past, Darrington Press, who works with Critical Role, sent us out stuff so we can cover one of their new board games, A Familiar Find. So that was really neat. But that'll be coming over to the YouTube side. That'll be a separate playlist that, again, we will dub that More Fun at the Table. And I also want to give a big shout out to our friends Carson and Phil, sorry. Shout out to Carson and Phil, who we've met through the Ink Table over the past year, who are a couple of friends just like us who, for the past 5 years, have been working on their very own board game. It's like a TCG board game hybrid. It's called Here Be Monsters. And by the time this episode goes live, that board game will be live on Kickstarter for people to go check out the campaign. Maybe we'll drop it down in the description too. John and I got the privilege of actually trying out that game or a version of that game on Tabletop Simulator in the past year or so. And they sent us demo decks for free. They were like, here's your demo decks. And if you want a demo deck, you can also go get a demo deck for free to try out the game before you decide if you want to back the campaign or anything like that. So thank you to them. Thank you to our friends there. Watch for content coming from that, along with other really fun stuff that's outside of the Lorcana realm, but still tabletop, having fun, people gathering around the table.
Yeah. And I think like my Gen Con is obviously still different. Like my horizons have been broad a little bit, but I know that you and your family and John are big board game people. I don't have time. Like it's fun to see, and I love the boost. Like that's probably my favorite part about Gen Con is seeing how like these marketing teams, because I in professional life I also am in that realm of conventions and marketing and these booths and what we do with them. And my favorite was the National Park board game, and they were like little park rangers. They looked little cartoony tables. I love the creativity and stuff like that. It's really fun, and yeah, we don't know who's going to be at Gen Con. I think just in talking to people, I think that there might be less of a turnout in terms of like Lorcana dedicated people like last year. And I think the reason why it was so big last year is because Fabled was coming out. Like that was the big, introductory push to the game was Fabled. But there's still gonna be folks there. I'm eager to see what this year brings. So
I think the big difference between this year and last year is D23 is actually happening this year. I think it's on a 2-year cycle.
yep.
I know when John and I talked to Rebecca last year, she even brought up, or maybe this was just one of the side conversations where I was talking to her. That was her first time there at Gen Con as well.
Mhm.
It was a lot of people's first time at Gen Con. And she was talking about flip flopping from year to year and going to Gen Con one year, D23 the next, and being on a cycle like that. And I think that she shared on her stories and stuff that she's not doing any more traveling until D23 before she has to go to the North America Championship or whatever DLC comes up after that. So I think she's missing out there. I know Rules of Villainy will be there. Questing with Cole will be there. JDZ will be there. Greg Tito. Just some of the names. But if you're listening, you're going to be at Gen Con, hit us up. Let us know. We'd love to see you, everybody in the community. Even if you're just an audience member, say hi. Don't be afraid to stop, say hi, grab a picture, grab a sticker, right? We got the stickers and stuff. And even if you've met Preston, yo, this is still I haven't got to meet you guys yet. John hasn't got to meet you guys yet. So
Come find us.
Shake a hand, meet us. I'd love to meet everybody. It's gonna be a fantastic time. And don't let Preston fool you. He loves Lorcana, and he says that this is a different situation, or Gen Con's gonna look different for him than what it is me and John. Sure, he's not a big board game guy, but I can promise you, behind the scenes, he was the first one in line and the most prominent one between all of us that was like, I want to try Riftbound. Because he's a League of Legends guy, and he's like, I want to try it out.
Former, and that was for science. And that's
I mean, right? Yeah. That's the big thing there is I want to, for science, test out these other TCGs and stuff, just to see what we're first time TCG players, even if it's not something we're getting into. Let's compare them.
They got Buzz is on a playmat, so that's my main objective. So
there you go.
Oh, I did see.
Run it back.
Go check out that video. We'll link it talking about the convention playmats. But I did see one in person. It is not year dated, like all the years previously. It does not have 2026 on it.
Interesting.
Yeah, all the convention playmats have had the year. This year does not have it. Don't know. Minor thing.
That's kind of. It's kind of spicy that they would choose to do that or choose not to do that, I guess. And I guess moving on there, we are now entering spicy topic territory in this podcast episode. we've talked about all the fun times we've had and stuff like that, but now we're going to talk about all of the highly debated and hot topics within the Lorcana community right now. And first and foremost, guys, we got to hash this out. This is an issue that I'm bringing to the table today that we started not too long ago after the special Lorecast. We all hopped in. It was, I think John was there too. It was like all three of us, along with some
I was there for
other
like 5
content.
minutes, I think.
That was enough. That 5 minutes was enough. That like I was like, no, we got to finish this conversation. This is an issue. So I'm bringing it here to the table today. The three of us, along with some of our other audience members that hopped in. There are some Pixar characters and IPs coming to Disney Lorcana in this set, following up with the ones that came out in Wilds Unknown. The big three of this set being Monsters Incorporated, Up, and Turning Red. We had a debate the other day that I want settled now between ourselves and the people down in the comments. Help us settle this debate, because it was the big question was, what is the biggest Pixar IP in this set? Last year was clearly Toy Story. Incredibles is pretty high, I think, but it was duh. I mean, it was Toy Story. That's the OG. We've seen it all. We've seen the hype behind it. It brought so many people. Right. Meanwhile, you're over there trying to complete a Toy Story binder with all the Toy Story cards. Good luck with that. Good luck trying to get that iconic. But this set, in Attack of the Vine, Monsters Incorporated, Up, Turning Red, what is the biggest, in quotations, biggest, because that could be interpreted different ways. What is the biggest Pixar IP from this set? I want to hear what you guys have to say, because I personally, and I think this is why I was so upset about it during the time. Not upset, but I was like, man, you guys, you're all wrong. You're all wrong. There was a lot of hate and shade thrown towards Up. Even Austin, right? Who, if this is guy, he like, we deputize, right? Just like Woody out there, we deputize different people. We deputize Mike over there in the collector's corner to be like, yo, you're the leader of this. Help us out with the collector's corner stuff. We deputize Austin to be the man behind the scenes with films and TV shows, because that's his background and his experience. But even him, he really took me by surprise and shocked me and was like, the only good part about Up is those original opening moments. We all cry and then we move on. And I'm like, what? What? You're crazy. Up is such a good movie. And then, like, Disney Dad Canada and everybody was like, and Kevin at Animal Kingdom. You see Kevin at Animal Kingdom? That's cool. But I personally think Up is light years a better movie than Monsters, Inc. or Turning Red, especially Turning Red. Personally, I think that is a better movie.
Hello.
Maybe I'm wrong,
My
and
name
maybe
is
you
Doug.
guys are right. Yeah. Maybe you guys are right. Monsters Inc. is a bigger. I mean, they're building it in the parks. It's the key art, everything like that. But I think Up is a better movie. What do you think, John?
It's been a while. I've never seen Monsters University, so I've only seen, was it Monsters Incorporated? Is University 2 technically, or is that 3?
It's a prequel.
It's a prequel.
Yeah, it's the second one. Yeah.
So I haven't seen it, so I think Up's a better movie, but I think Monsters is more franchisable. You know what I mean? It's like Cars or like, I mean, you say Toy Story is big. I think Cars is almost bigger than Toy Story is. I mean,
we know it's bigger. We talked about that before, about the merchandise.
Yeah.
Cars is made, to blow everybody's mind, Cars has made almost triple the amount of money that Toy Story has just off of merchandising alone.
And when's the last time they had a Cars movie? It's been a while.
They got a new cartoon coming out.
Up is.
So I think.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Preston.
No. Go on.
No, I was just going to say Up is a weird movie for me, because me and my wife really like it a lot, because we relate to both those characters, because the first 10 or 15 minutes of that movie, at that time, we were literally going through the exact same thing. We found out we could not have kids of our own, and it was hard. And that movie, when somebody goes, well, which one? That one's hard for me, because it's like that was a very specific time in our lives that happened. And when we watched it, we going into it at the theater, we didn't know, and it was like we were sitting there going, oh, well, I just got punched in the gut again. It's like, so yeah, to me, I think the story's better, but that's just a personal thing because of the situation we were in at the time. So that makes it, that blurs it for us. But
yeah,
I think it kind of goes back to, it's like, people may look at those franchises and go, oh, it's not as big as Toy Story. Like, not everyone has a Disney favorite, or everyone has a favorite Disney franchise for various reasons. Like, for me, it's Toy Story because I grew up with it. For John, it's Fox and the Hound. For Dylan, it's everything, I think. But I will concur with John in the fact that it's not as marketable, and in terms, because for that heavy reason, I think it's one that I think hits people in the feels in all the ways.
yeah.
And I think that is why, not that people aren't excited for it, but it's almost like that franchise is more important from as a human, at a human level, than anything else.
Right.
So that's why I will concur that I don't think it's up, because I think, unbeknownst to the film, and it's a fantastic film, it comes with a lot of baggage, and I feel like that's probably what's leading that. My take is, I think Monsters Inc. is going to be the heavier one, and here's why. So my parents don't play Lorcana. They've never played a TCG. They got married time, but they know Disney, and we grew up with it. And my dad is he doesn't collect anymore, but my dad has binders of very rare cards. And I don't think I've told this story, but he came, it was like Thanksgiving last year. He's like, what do you know about Topps baseball cards? I'm like, I know cards. And he's like, I got this complete set of Topps cards. I'm like,
what?
Okay, I don't know anything about baseball cards, but complete sets and old, I know that's the thing. So they keep up with it because, like, it's a collectible thing. And I was talking to my parents last night on FaceTime, and I showed them that they did the funny with Mike Wazowski in the one card. And my mom was like, Monsters Inc., that's so cool. So I think Monsters Inc., if we look at the age demographic of Lorcana players, which are mostly young adults or just adults in general, I think Monsters Inc., from the perspective of not only did we grow up with it, but our parents at the time were also growing up with that Monsters Inc. franchise too. So that's my thought. And not to say that any of them are not worthy of being in the game, but I think it's that conversation last night with my folks was the barometer for me to go, oh, like, people who don't know anything about Lorcana are excited about Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
And I think that Disney knows what they're doing, right? When we've talked about this too, is they turn around and they push things when they need to push things, especially teaming up with merchandising. Toy Story coming at this fantastic time in Lorcana when Toy Story 5 just released. There's a reason that stuff like that happens and it aligns. Monsters Inc. is being pushed within the parks right now. It's getting an entire land in its Hollywood Studios expansion that's going to be Monsters Inc. themed. Can't wait to go check that out and see that. Got to see a little bit behind the scenes while I was down at Disney World in January of what they're doing there. We'll see even more of that this August at D23. But Disney knows that they are trying to build hype in general right now behind Monsters Inc. So teaming up with Ravensburger, bringing it there. It's in the key art. Can't wait to see the enchanteds, because we still haven't seen the enchanteds at this point. The playmat, which we'll talk about this later on in the next episode too, but the set championship playmat this time is the Monsters Inc. themed playmat. So I mean, I don't even want to. I don't know why I brought this. I do know. I say this is a debate. It's not a debate, right? Monsters Inc. We all agree Monsters Inc. is the biggest IP or Pixar IP in this set in Attack of the Fun. I just wanted us to talk about Up some more and give it some kudos because I was like, man, you guys, everybody saying Pixar or that Monsters Inc. is better than Up. I was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But speaking of highly debated topics there, Preston.
Yeah, this is one that is. I want to preface this conversation, one of the last topics of our show here, but I want to preface this conversation by saying this is a very hot, heavy, loaded topic right now. And we haven't had the opportunity to completely dissect everything that has happened in the collector's market with Wilds Unknown yet. So I want to preface this conversation by saying we wanted to go ahead and talk about this because it's important that people get educated about what is coming next year and how this product is positioned. But let's go back. So before we reveal what this is, I think the best way to put it is that there are a lot of new people entering Lorcana from a collector's perspective because of the Toy Story Enchanteds and the Buzz Lightyear iconic. And that has caused a ripple effect throughout older sets, notably Fabled, and the secondary market price of like cards for sale on eBay and TCG Player as an effect, prices of collectibles of Disney Lorcana, promos, enchanteds, DLC cards, etc., have all greatly risen. And we're not going to get into the topic of conversation of is this good, bad, what is it? Because we're just not qualified. But what we do want to share is that anytime we get people into Disney Lorcana, that is a good thing. It is for the health of the game, it is a good thing. But if you are setting on older Enchantos right now and you were to go on TCG Player and look them up, you're probably going to be pretty surprised at what the market price of these cards are over time. And one of the best videos that I have seen about this topic is Liam. Last week or week before last, Liam over the Illumineers published a video. They are not a Disney Lorcana collectors channel content creator, but they did a fantastic job educating about what was happening. And that is our skinny version. So I would highly recommend go checking out that video and other videos. But this type of attention has not happened in Lorcana before. And the sudden price volatility of collectibles being expensive again, it has not really happened before. So this is the first time that we, the three of us sitting here, have experienced this in trading card games. And this is also the first time that a lot of other people playing trading card games have experienced something like this. And it's coming with a lot of mixed emotions. Sealed product is becoming very hard to find because there are a lot of people trying to chase buzz and pull these enchanteds. But that is, and I think that's a good synopsis before we talk about what was leaked and officially revealed. Like anything to add to that preface before we talk about what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's just there's a lot going on with the market right now. You're right, 100%. The more people and the more eyes that we can get on this game, the better. No matter who you are, there's people are coming to this game for different reasons and always have from the beginning.
Right.
You've always had people who came to this game just to collect. A lot of our people that we've met and friends that we've made were collectors first and foremost, who have over time became players. So there are people who come to this game to play. There are people that come to this game to collect. There are people that come to this game solely for Disney, and some that are here for the community. And that's the important part.
Right. So right now things are just kind of hot right now. Sealed product is getting a little bit more difficult to find. If you're looking to complete a Toy Story binder, that just got a lot more expensive. Yeah, but So there's a lot of collectors getting in, and during the Lorecast, we got a name reveal for the Q1 next year set, 2027, called Into the Inkdark. And Hades, love him, but there was an image that started floating around that you are now seeing on screen, and it was a picture of what appeared to be a collector booster box for Into the Inkdark. And this was circulating around. And basically, for those who are not familiar, and this is where I'm going to ask Dylan and John to correct me, but these collector booster boxes are nothing new. Magic the Gathering does it, Star Wars Unlimited does it. But it is a booster box that comes at a slightly higher premium traditionally with alternate art cards, foils, etc. And I know Magic boosters, depending on the set, could go anywhere for upwards of $40 a pack. But that's the synopsis of this product. Is It is separate from your play boosters that we currently have. This is a premium product for collectors, for alternate arts, foils. We don't know specifics, but that is the context behind this. And I think John has a little bit of context about how Star Wars does it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, Star Wars has these, and if you look on if you really zoom in on the box, it says collector's boosters, 13 premium foils per pack is what it says on
Every
that.
card will be a foil.
So the way it works in Star Wars is they have they call them the carbonite boxes. They're $25 a pack. There's 12 packs in a box, and I think there's 18 cards in a pack. I think. Most of them are foil. There are a couple common and uncommon, just regular cards in there, and then the last two cards are a chance at a foil legendary card and another foil rarity. The big thing in the Star Wars is they have showcase cards, and they are essentially the enchanted cards of the set. Now, in a normal booster box, their pull rate is supposedly around 1 in every 288 packs you get in showcase card or an enchanted card. If you buy the collector's boxes, that drops to 1 in 36, which 1 in 50, about 1 in 50 packs is you'll get an enchanted card. And or in showcase card, and those showcase cards they're the same cards you can pull in the regular set, but there's no special kind of cards that you can only get in that set to run in your deck or anything like that. These are specifically just alternate art cards, foil. The new ones, they call them, there's 3 different kinds. There's propaganda, rebel, and I forget what else, and it's the style of art, and those can be foil or they can be non-foil, but the only way to get those is in the collector's box. Right. So I'm guessing it's going to be like that.
It is an optional premium product,
right? Yeah.
So this started circulating. Naturally, people started talking, and people were trying to figure out if it was real, if it was fake. The art was very consistent with the branding of Into the Inkdark. And I was surprised to see that they had released a statement yesterday about this, because I fully expected the dust to settle a little bit and then talk about it. But Team Lorcana, no one in particular, let's just say Ravensburger in general, they did release a statement on this yesterday. We are recording this on Saturday the 27th. I'm just going to read it. It says, "We would like to address an image that briefly appeared on our website earlier this week that featured packaging for a, quote, collector booster for the upcoming set Into the Inkdark. We know this term comes with its own expectations in the trading card game space and have planned to share the image with proper context. While we can't share full details at this time, we do want to assure our fans that we have no intention of detracting from the booster pack experience fans have loved with Wilds Unknown, and aim to only improve this experience as future sets and products release. Since launch, we've always aimed to do right by our fans and intend for that principle to be central to all of our decisions. We're excited to share details about collector boosters and what they mean for the future of Disney Lorcana trading card game later this summer. So they have confirmed that this image that apparently originated on their website accidentally is real, and I applaud them for getting ahead of it. I will say that products like this, I'm no TCG expert, but products like this are in the works long before any current events in Lorcana. But what very unfortunate timing that this happened.
Yeah, with the market being as volatile as it is right now, and that's not something that you plan or I clearly like you don't expect it to happen, but all of this, and again, they wanted to give proper context of it or whatever. So
They
for it to
could.
be leaked again, that's unfortunate too.
Yeah.
But the fact that it comes right now and we're learning about it at a time where the trading card market and especially Lorcana is wild. Like in no more sense than that. Like it is just wild.
A lot
Prices
of
are all
mixed
over the
feelings
place.
too.
Yeah, cards are harder to get a hold of. Sealed product, as you said, is harder to get a hold of. So seeing something like this, it's like okay, but what does this actually mean? What does this look like? And there's just a lot of talk, I guess, more so than anything about what it could mean and what it could be like and what the situation is going to be. But in all honesty, we don't have enough information currently. And even when we gain information, we're still not going to be able to properly process that information and determine what it actually means until the time gets here. What, 6 months or so from now, when Into the Inkdarks actually comes out and we're living it and we're living in that moment, and then we'll be able to reflect back on this conversation that we're having now, because until it happens, we don't know what the state of Lorcana is going to look like then, or anything, or what it means for actual players and collectors.
And the reason why we're bringing this up is because there is obviously a lot of very mixed opinions on this. Uh, Unconfirmed speculation of will they nerf the regular booster experience in favor of the premium booster box, the collector booster box.
Said they won't
We
in the
don't know.
statement.
Yeah, exactly. So just a lot of speculation and a lot of nervous speculation too, because again, it's just unfortunate timing that this happened. I think the three of us are very neutral on the product because we don't know what this looks like. However, in reading and listening to things, I think there can be a world where this can coexist with the rest of the SKUs, with the rest of the products that exist. But it's just we wanted to talk about it now to help educate and help prepare people for what this may look like, but ultimately we need to wait for official confirmation. And my take, whenever it was leaked initially, is I have more important things that I want addressed with the game than something 6 months to 7 months down the road. But I do applaud them for getting ahead of it, and I think it's just a lot of uncertainty. And I think the important thing for people to do is just to breathe and just be like, wait to see what this product is like. I don't know if I'm for or against this product personally. I'm very neutral on the topic. But as somebody who's never done TCGs before, I think there's a world where it can coexist if done properly.
And my thought process on all of this, again, trying to stay neutral about it all, I only have one sentiment, and that is what I hope this product is not. And I think that there's a lot of the community out there who will agree with what I have to say. And I know even amongst ourselves and amongst our Discord members, there's a lot of people that don't necessarily agree with what I'm about to say. But right now, we're at a time where we have been screaming as players, as collectors, as people who love this game, who say this is the best art in all of TCGs. And I mean, I can't say that we're wrong, but we have been screaming for alternate art and alternate art bolstering that pack opening experience. And I'm not going to say that they're doing this, but listening to what John has said about these other similar products that other TCGs and stuff have, there does not need to be a divide between the normal Lorcana players and the more premium Lorcana players who can afford this product. And there's a lot of those out there with the people coming in, the collectors and stuff coming in from other TCGs now, and a lot of Disney people in general, right? I mean, Disney always has this thing with the pins, the popcorn buckets, everything else. There's always there's a premium sticker slapped onto them.
It's a premium brand.
But it is. But at the end of the day, just because it's a premium brand does not mean that you need to forget or take away from your audience and your player base who has built this product up over the course of 3 years. Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, all of these other TCGs have been around for 20 plus years. And now Ravensburger, a puzzle company, has thrown their hat into the ring of becoming a cardboard TCG whatever, and you are rushing stuff out the gate and you are playing catch up over the past 3 years, and you're pushing products out that took these other companies 20 plus years before Wizards of the Coast pushed similar products out. So they know that. A lot of these guys were at Wizards. They were at Wizards of the Coast before they came to Ravensburger. So my only ask that I don't want, right, is I don't want alternative art to solely be in boxes like this. If you want to boost the odds of pulling epics or pulling enchanteds or even the iconics, right, which I personally think with everything they've talked about with iconics in the past, that even the iconics should be a standalone, never changes no matter what, but you got to have a selling point for this product. And Preston, I think you said it best, businesses will business. Yeah. But you got to have... Please, please, make sure that alternative art, if you're putting it in the game, is still in those standard booster packs and booster boxes for everyone else as well. The ball is in their court.
Yep. And I think my final part on it, because I know John has...
Oh, I do, and it's going to be a very controversial one.
My thing is, again, as somebody who is new to TCGs, it is a fun, again, we don't know what's planned over the sets leading up to into the Inkdark. We don't know. But it is just a funny feeling where it's like, we lost incentives at local game shops, and there's things at that level that need addressed, and then we're doing and epics are not highly sought after unless they're a really playable card or competitively relevant card, or because all cards are playable, or an alternate art. And there's just some things I would like, if we're going to go this route, I would like to see improvements in other places to keep the overall ecosystem happy and healthy ultimately. But I mentioned this on our Discord. At the end of the day, it is a officially licensed third-party product, and there is money to be made, and we like collectibles. But again, for me personally, I have cautions, not necessarily concerns, but it's going to be something that as we get in more information, I'll be able to kind of give that. But I know John has had a little bit more experience with these collector environments and boosters than what we have.
My thing is, it depends. Like you said, it depends on how they do it.
Yep.
If I'm using Star Wars Unlimited as basis, because it seems like a lot of the things that Lorcana does kind of falls in line with Star Wars, because
which you've talked about in the past with the pre-release boxes,
right?
And
the
stuff,
pre-release boxes, Star Wars did it, then Lorcana did it, and then Star Wars did the Carbonite, collector's boxes, and now it looks like Lorcana is going to start doing them. So, me just assuming that they're going to be like the Star Wars ones with the alternate art, the foils, the better chances of getting it enchanted. To me, these, if that's the case, if that's the case, and they keep, according to this statement, they're going to keep that booster pack experience the way it was with Wild. So here we go, next set. But you do that, and you keep your player base, your just regular player base that doesn't care about alternate art. They just want a set. They want to play set at a reasonable price. This keeps those cards down. It gives your collectors a better chance who are out there chasing that whatever enchanted want
And we've
them.
seen this with Wild.
Right. With this collector's box, if there's a better chance of pulling an enchanted out of it, those people are going to gravitate towards those boxes and stay away from the booster boxes. So they're more. We saw it with Wilds at first, because at first it was, there's a better chance of getting this card and that card and that card out of the pre-release kits. So people were buying cases of pre-release kits and not buying booster boxes. Well, once the pre-release kits dried up, then they went to the booster boxes. But with the collector's boxes, my hope is if they do all that more of your hardcore collector people will gravitate towards those. My issue is they're expensive in Star Wars. 12 packs, one box, $300, $25 a pack. That's a lot for a box. But your hardcore people that are chasing money, that's nothing to them. They'll buy a case of it. And I don't know who it was, if it was one of you all or somebody on the Discord said, this seems like something for YouTubers to pull. I think it was
TikTok
Mike.
Peoples. Yeah, he was like, "Man, this sounds like a whatnot box break or whatever it is that people do over there."
Yeah, and it seems like it is. That's what it is. My thing is I don't see the alternate art being in these any different than Disney or Lorcana or Ravensburger, whoever, putting up boxes that you can only get at Disney parks, playmats you can only get at Disney parks. That I don't live anywhere near a Disney park to be able to be there that day and stand in line with 500 people to try to buy that princess set that's coming out. That D23 box, yes, they gave us the opportunity afterwards, way after D23, to get one. But, I had to pay somebody that was going to D3 to get that box and mail it to me. I had to pay them extra money, had to tip them, all this stuff, pay way above board to get that box. And to me, that's no different than these collector's boxes. Those are just alternate arts that that I could play with if I wanted to. But that's just me. That's the way I see it. But as somebody who's been collecting all kinds of stuff for 40 years, I collect action figures on the side. And there's certain action figures of certain characters that they sell at San Diego Comic-Con that sell out in 5 minutes, and they are not available anywhere else. That's just the way the collector's market is with anything. But that's my hope with this, is that if they do it like Star Wars does it, but I can't, as someone who's not in the Star Wars ecosystem, playing the game and stuff, I occasionally buy a box here and there and open it up and go, oh, those are cool cards, and I put them in a box, But I don't know if it's hindered or hurt or helped the Star Wars community. But I know there's a lot of people on Facebook just like, that's it. They're making collector's boxes. I saw a post last night. I'm selling all mine. I'm out. It's like, well,
I think that's a knee jerk.
Yeah, it is. Just don't buy it.
It is.
It's nobody's. It's like I said, nobody's putting a gun to your head and saying you need to buy this product if you want to get the latest Buzz Lightyear card. You have to buy this product. That card is only available in this set. No, you're not going to get it any other way. I don't think it's going to be anything like that. This is purely just going to be alternate art foil cards, or it's just going to be, instead of you getting one foil a pack of a common card, this is going to have 13 foils in it, and it may be common, uncommon, rare, legendary, and they're all foils. Some people like to bling out their deck with foils.
We don't know.
Don't have a clue.
Final point of it too, I think there's two things that are driving a lot of, not panic, but just a lot of speculation. Is again, it's unfortunate timing that they couldn't give full context around this, right. And also this happened when the market is hot, because we're looking at Attack of the Vine pre-orders, and there's a lot of places where it's hard to find, or there's places charging well over MSRP for Attack of the Vine, like back up to $200 a box for Attack of the Vine that we're seeing online. So I think that in combination with this is causing a lot of nervousness, and also the fact that a lot of there's a preconceived notion with these products and other TCGs, and they're seeing that enter the game, and I think that's what's causing a lot of this. But again, we don't know, but we wanted to talk about it as a table to help spread the word of this is what's happening, this is what this product is, but we don't know enough yet.
One more thing before we go. because you said it, that they're already taking, some places are already taking pre-orders on Attack of the Vine boxes at above market value. What is your feelings on that? If it's to me, this is just me, if it's a TCG store, a local store, like let's say our store, who normally charges MSRP $149 for a box, if I go in and say I want to buy my regular 5 boxes, and they're like, oh, they're $250 a box, this set. Well, why? Oh, well, it's in demand. Well, then I'm not buying it from you if I can go down the street at another TCG and buy it for MSRP, or online for MSRP. And I mean, I hate to say, don't support that TCG that's doing that, but I'm not going to support that TCG that's doing that. You know, it's like, or the local store that's doing that.
And we're not saying that's what our stores do.
No, gosh, no, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just using this as it goes, to me, it goes back to the things where Walmart and McDonald's were testing what they call where they changed the price in the middle of the day because it was busier. Today the Big Mac is $6, but between 11 and 2 at McDonald's, because we're busy, it's $9. Variable pricing, that's the word I was trying to think of. You know, it's like, and Walmart tried it too. Sorry for Walmart, but I mean, you know, some stores did. It's like, I don't know. My thing, if you're paying above pricing for a pre-order in a box, especially right now, I doubt stores have gotten what their allotments are going to be. So how do they even know how many boxes they're going to get? You know,
yeah,
I don't know. That's one thing that really irks me about some stores that do that, but that's a whole nother story that I can go off on.
It's uncharted territory for us.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it in the past. Other TCGs have faced this issue. It's your money. In the end, it is your money. If you want to support your local LGS and spend your money there, then do it. I mean, I'm going to do it. Is it the best option? Could I go somewhere else and find someone who isn't charging up prices or whatever? Honestly, we don't necessarily know how everything works behind the scenes with distribution for these LGSs. What are they being charged from the distributors in the first place, right? Mm-hmm. And I think to like wrap up the conversation, because again, I mean, this isn't necessarily a problem we have faced yet, and we're thankful for our local stores and stuff like that we attend, who aren't upcharging us and haven't thus far. And honestly, I don't think they're going to, but I know that other stores are. The most important thing about this topic of how you spend your money and this regular booster versus collector's booster boxes, it goes back to the one point that we always make here at the table, and that is spend your money wisely. It is your finances. If you have the money to throw away, and I mean, I don't want to say throw away, but if you have the extra resources and the extra assets to where you can afford to do that, and it's something you would like to do, then do it. And if you can't afford it, make good financial decisions. Don't fall into the trap of FOMO, because when these collector boosters do come out, they're going to be all over the internet. Whether it is your favorite content creators getting boxes directly from Ravensburger to show off online or anything like that, or the people who do have money showing them off, don't feel obligated to purchase products that you can't necessarily afford. Don't gamble it away, and spend your money wisely, always.
Yeah. But again, we're early. Attack of the Vine is still
who knows
weeks away.
Sure.
Who knows? But we had to talk about it. You know, this is something that was going to stay until we were going to talk about the collector box leak or spoil in the next episode. But once they made the statement, we're like, no, we got to talk about it now. So stay tuned. Keep your ear to the ground. Don't go crazy. Like, just it's next year. Just try to keep your ear to the ground. We'll see what they say. And I'm sure this is a topic that we're going to revisit as time goes on. So, but I know we talked about a lot today, but next week, more news.
More news. We're going into Attack the Vine. Again, we wanted to hold off, not necessarily talk about it this this episode because there's plenty that we still needed to discuss about our adventures that we've had this summer during this episode, and we want that full view of everything that's taking place in Attack of the Vines, all these different promo cards that they have. I think we counted like 7 or 8 different promo cards this set between the buy a box promos and your weekly play and organized play promos and just everything in between. There's so many different things in general. Cards are still being revealed right now and rolling out. We're getting excited about a lot of them. We don't necessarily want to talk about cards until we've seen all the cards because we still haven't even seen the enchanteds yet, which fantastic art style this time. I guess we can say that name, right? The Senna Mayhem art style that we're seeing with the iconic cards that, again, can't wait to see how that translates over to the enchanteds. Probably one of my favorite art styles that they've had so far, and I think that I've said that every set for the past 3 or 4 sets that they came out with. Art Nouveau was great. Senna Mayhem is fantastic. So we're looking forward to that. Preston, I know that you're excited about a lot of the fun mechanics that's been revealed that we'll go into further next set. And man, I'm telling you, every card that is being revealed as it's being revealed, I'm like, oh man, I could build a deck with that. Oh, I could do that deck. At this point, I'm overwhelmed, but I'm also extremely excited for all the different deck possibilities as someone who's a big deck builder. So look forward to that. Thank you for pulling up a seat for this episode, which was a little bit more personal and covered some hot topics there at the end. And you also got to see a little behind the curtain into our thought process with everything that's going on. And John, thank you for sharing your story and being so personal whenever you were talking about Up. I mean, that really got to me, man.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. But again, mega Discord main stage coming up where they're taking all 3 of those typical main stages, the art, the narrative, the gameplay, combining it together into one. I think they're doing that because this is like July 4th coming up, so it makes sense for them to just do the one. I mean, I think that's why they're doing it, but I'm not sure. That'll start at 1 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, July 1st, not Monday, July 1st. This will be on Discord, not Twitch. That is super, super important. Get in there if you're wanting to watch it. Get in there quick because these Discord main stages, they cap out on how many people can be in the audience watching them, and they tend to fill up pretty quick. So if you want to be there, check it out, hop in, try to get in, and if you miss it, it's all right. There's going to be plenty of people talking about all the news. We'll have the news as it's happening in real time pop up in our Discord, so join the Discord if you haven't already, and look forward to next week's, not next month's episode, well, next month's, whatever. We'll have our news-heavy episode of everything Attack of the Vine related and sets beyond. So thank you for pulling up a seat here at the Ink Table. If you would like to contact us for any business inquiries, you can do so at podcast@inktable.com. Ravensburger, that means you. If you would like some Ink Table merch, like this hat here, the shirts that John and I are wearing, then you can check that out at the inktable-shop.fourthwall.com. All links will be down below in the description. And if you're listening to this podcast, wherever you're listening to, and podcasts are your choice, consider subscribing, liking, and leaving a review. It really helps us get more visibility and brings more folks to the Ink Table. And no matter where you're listening, whether it's there, audio, here on YouTube, or anywhere else, leave a like, dude. Subscribe. We're so close to reaching our yearly goal that we set out at our 1-year anniversary of wanting 500 subscribers by the end of the year. I think last I looked, we were at like 330 something. We're at what?
432.
432. Yeah. Oh, my bad. I said 3. 432. So we are on the cusp. We are right there. Push us over the limit. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. Get us over 500. That way we can set our bar a little bit higher and look into the future, kind of like Lorcana does with their sets, looking into the future. We can then look towards 1,000. But thank you guys as always. Thanks for pulling up a seat. Until next time, you know where to find us.
This podcast is part of the Gamers Lounge Radio Network. Get more gaming news and shows at www.the-gamers-lounge.com.